She can do anything she wants, she's not chair.
Okay.
The chair has the right to.
Yeah. Because we're
Yeah.
trustees and stuff,
Right.
like the mayor or whatever.
Right. One of the things that I talked to Beth about, and we can go over it at our next meeting, but I'm going to make a suggestion. We'll take a look at the job description and discuss what jobs, such as Missouri One Call is going to go to, I'm going to transfer that to Jim. And we'll start looking and seeing things that can be done by a board member. An example is roads. I understand that roads was a sticking block for some people. It isn't a big deal, quite frankly, the roads. I knew nothing about them until I did the job. Jim is really good at explaining what needs to be done with roads. But all Jim and I do, in all honesty, is in the spring we get in the golf cart, we go around, we look at the roads, we say they need tubes there, or we don't need tubes there, this has to be, potholes that have to be fixed. We write it down, we bring it to you guys, as always, and so it isn't complicated. You need to educate yourself on what the terminology is and what we're talking about. A plastic tube versus a metal tube versus, we got an argument about 2 tubes versus one time, I think, didn't we? But that's it, and it's not a monthly thing you have to do. We do that in the spring. If we have an emergency, we talk about what needs to be done. The gravel is ordered when we're ready to gravel the roads. That runs through the court because the court writes the checks. So it's not it's not a complicated thing, and it's not a time-consuming thing. If the roads get snowed, I don't even do anything. Henry just knows he needs to go plow the roads. I mean, as far as the road work, that's all that's involved in that. So that's something that possibly a board member could, do with Jim, and then bring back to the board. So next month, we can go through, started, just kind of looking and trying to decide what things could be shuffled around and that type of thing. So that would be my suggestion, is that we see what we can do, and maybe that might loosen up some of the concerns that are going on here. So.
Natalie, I'd like to make a suggestion. I don't know exactly how it would fit in there. And I talked to Beth about this the other day. We as members of the board, or maybe I'm just speaking to myself, don't know enough about this town, or the boundaries, or who lives where, or what the problems are. We just come and we talk about it and we say, oh, where do they live, and what's this, and what's the problem with that road, and what are you talking about when you say easements or this, that, and the other. I think it would be a good idea if we as the board maybe got a couple of golf carts and we went around and talked about it, the whole boundaries of the thing, and would get out of the golf carts and say, and discuss whatever we thought might look like a problem or something, and find out where people live. And it would be nice if we had a map
We do.
of where everybody
Where
lives
did
that we could have for our own.
What did we do with that?
And,
We have-
I've got a water map, good access to one. So we can see back in
No, I was talking about the Green Hills map, but the boundaries.
Well, but it doesn't have residence lots. so-
No, it doesn't have,
The one I did for the water department, when people
Right.
hooked up, I did, and so I could come up with.
or if we just had one that each of us could
Yes,
have.
right,
Yeah.
yeah.
one of
I
the,
think it's most important to get out with the folks and see what they're
yeah,
saying and what.
and further on when we get down into maybe under new business or old business, we have a discussion we can have about addresses and those type of things. It's not on there so much insulin and new business. So that is something that may be beneficial. Because I hate being the only one who actually knows the street numbers. Versus Johnson's house and turn left.
Yeah.
And we have street signs, so that helps.
Yes. So, anyway. Okay.
Good idea.
I'm looking.
Monthly financial report.
Have mine gone around or is it?
Yes, we have some questions, is that
Okay,
Yes.
You bet.
I don't know what, I'm trying to learn more so we don't rely on you, you know, and whoever comes in next, because they're gonna supposed to rely on us. A couple of things, one on the, streetlights,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm not saying they're different, I just noticed this time, but we have 4 bills for the same dates.
Mm-hmm. We have 4 different things that are built. Streetlights, pumps, I have to stop and think about it. What is it? There's the, no, not the lift
Sewer or
stations.
something?
Those are all, one is the park, one is the streetlights. The big one is the streetlights.
Playground equipment,
No, for electrical.
well, they got one I like there.
Yeah, so that's why there's 4 bills.
Okay, because several of them look the same, I mean,
They
two
are, but if you
two of them are
look at the
one.
addresses at the top of the bill,
Yeah, East
Yeah.
Second says, this one says, yeah, I did look at that, so that's all.
yeah,
Yeah,
and
see,
that's,
this is another East Second.
right. But there's 2 different things on there. There's the city hall and
And the old, okay, so that was all my questions, thank you for
Old
explaining.
firehouse.
the old
Yeah.
firehouse, right?
Okay, I just
And we-
needed to understand, read it.
Right,
so
and no, that's a
thank you.
good question, because we do receive 4 bills. The most expensive one is the streetlights, it's 200 and something, I think.
But then that works out that they pay us this franchise fee, right?
Right.
So it
We
doesn't
do get
really
Right,
cost us,
we get a quarterly franchise tax.
which is the equivalent of a quarter of an annual bill? does it
Not,
happen?
yeah, not really,
Okay, I just need to
yeah,
look at my
that's okay.
information better. And then these that you send out, the refunds for the taxes, I noticed that the names here don't match the names at the top, but maybe you've already done those. I mean, that one does, but, I mean, this is Allison Moore, and this is Fred and Peggy Carlson.
Well,
This is
who
Robin
knows?
Estes. and
I
this
probably
is-
didn't,
As long as you didn't send it to Robin, I mean, he.
no, they went to who they were supposed to, and I
Okay.
had checks to get cash, so.
Okay, that's why I just want Robin. That's what I had, thank you for
Yeah.
answering
You
those
bet.
questions.
And those are all good questions. That farmer's electrical bill, we pay a total of $367.16 right now. It's the total bill for the 4 separate accounts on that.
I just need to look at the quarterly franchise fee
Yeah.
and then add those together, which I can capable of doing. Thank you for explaining it.
You bet.
And thanks, Natalie, for letting me do
And,
that. So you need a motion to approve those?
no, we're still, we don't have a restricted funds account. I have not, it hasn't changed because I don't have a new bank statement yet on restricted funds, so I did not give you that this month. We do have the general checking account. We have a balance of $3,101.01 in there right now. I want to make a note, we'll talk about it again at fundraiser, but the first 2 entries for the fundraiser totals $150 we had for seed money, $125 and then $25. I put them into different piles, and so I had to break them out separately. So that was just one of those things that happened. So we have $125 and $25, and that's the total $150 is what I took out in seed money, and you'll see that that's up there someplace, right above it. Cash, starting in front of fashion show, okay? And that's what that is. We still are receiving some money, so when we get to the luncheon, we'll go over all of that. The franchise tax, for those who don't know, franchise tax, and we're talking about quarterly, we receive franchise tax from Farmers Electric Co-op. And you will see that come in. It's usually 1,000 or more that we receive. And basically, that's what we function on, the franchise tax. Once we get past all of the property taxes coming in, what we subsist on is the franchise tax we get back from Farmers Electric. So.
And fundraising.
And fundraising, yes, and the big F word, fundraising. So that's what Beth was talking about.
Franchising. So if our bills are about $300 a month
It's about right.
in 4 months, which is a quarter, right?
Yeah.
No, 3 months is a
3
quarter.
months is a quarter.
So that's about
It's
that,
not
not
right
bad.
in the general, yeah, it's right in the general. It fluctuates, it's not a set fee.
Right, I
I
understand.
never know for sure how much we're going to receive from it.
Yeah.
But that's what we're talking about when we're talking about the franchise tax that they send back to us.
Thank you.
And I think on a yearly basis, we receive a little over $4,000 a year from fees. Is there anything on here you don't understand, Lorianne?
No, I think it's.
Okay, because please ask questions if
Yeah.
you don't. Sometimes I just zip through it, expect everybody to follow along with me, and
I'll be expecting in January.
I know.
That is really strange.
Well, you had to be down in the basement with me today to know how that happened. Yeah, no, it's one of those, you pull up the template and you don't look at it and then you go, oh, look what I did. So, any other questions? Tammy's bill was, well, that's under the fundraiser too, so we won't go into that.
Yeah.
Any other questions or that on our monthly?
We're not doing B, right, we're just doing A,
Right,
Okay.
because it hasn't changed, right?
the signees.
Oh, no, we're doing that next. But we're doing the monthly I need a motion to approve the monthly financial report.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Monthly financial report, thank you.
A second. Did we give you a defective chair? I'm sorry, try them on Patty's.
Madam Chair.
I need to just go roll on.
It's two-member hazing, it's two-member hazing.
Like
Sorry.
run home chair.
Firehouse. Okay, we need to talk about the village.
Did people vote on that?
Yeah, they
Okay,
did.
okay.
And you want to give me a big I for all of them if I pass the financial? It's
Aye.
lackadaisical on that.
Okay,
Okay, the village bank accounts authorize signers. Patty is on literally every village account we have, so we need to go through the process. Natalie is currently on the two village accounts, the restricted funds and the village checking account, general checking account. Jim is up the creek because Patty was on all of his accounts and nobody else. So what we need to decide is who is going to be, obviously Natalie will be on all accounts as Patty is. So you will now go on all the water accounts, all the sewer accounts, okay? And you're already on the water project account. We did that already, okay? And the CD. So once I get the minutes written up, I will take those in the bank and then you'll have to go down and do that wonderful thing we do
Okay.
with the bank.
Just call me and let me
The first thing I need is a motion to put Natalie as chairman on all accounts.
I make a motion, we put Natalie on all the accounts.
second.
I know you do. I know. You have more than that.
I just wanna make sure you remember.
I remember. Best second, all in favor.
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, so Natalie will be a signer on all accounts.
Go, Natalie.
You have no
No,
idea
I
what you've
just
done to yourself.
that all that stuff doesn't show up on my bank
Well,
statement.
You look at
I,
them.
I do have a question
No,
about,
she needs to look at them.
I did.
and sign off on, oh,
Natalie has, yeah,
and,
I got it.
and maybe this is a water project question, but, you know, we have,
Mhm.
and so that's is on that too, because we had to sign some documents for that.
She's already on that, you're on that, Aletha is on that.
Okay, I just didn't want to, I can remember.
Right,
I relied
I'm
on
gonna
you.
recommend we put David on it, I'm still on it, so that gives us that balance that we need. When we get to the CD account. Okay, so Natalie, you will have a lot of signing to do, trust me on this deal, and I'll set up all the accounts, so that you know what you need to sign. I will get you the key to the safety deposit box, I did not bring it with me, I forgot. Don't give me the eyes. You are now entrusted with the key to the safety deposit box. Good luck, there's nothing but moms in there.
And we have BTC.
And we are, all of our accounts are at ETC. Okay, now we need to decide, my accounts are set, Jim's accounts are set. I would recommend, quite frankly, that we put one more person on all of the accounts.
I agree.
For two reasons. First of all, the hunt of finding, we are required by ordinance to have 2 signatures on every check. No check can go with 1 signature. 2 have to be on it. Usually it's myself or Jim and a board member. However, on occasion, it could be 2 board members. Jim and I do not share any accounts. I need to go back and I guess explain that. Jim handles all of his accounts, I handle my accounts, and then the board is ours, somebody from the board is our second signature. I would recommend that you seriously consider adding one more person to all of the accounts. like I said, first of all, it makes the, wow, I need a check sign hunt a little easier. And the second thing that I feel it would be important to do at this point, if a month from now you have a new clerk and I'm not signing checks, the process will be easier. You won't be like we are right now, literally in a gap of Patty is still allowed to sign. I checked with the bank and Patty was still allowed to sign until I turn in the new names. However, there is that gap now. So I would give it serious thought. I don't know if you want to make pro tem your signator, which might be the obvious way to go, or if you would like to do something else. But I would recommend that one more person be put on all accounts.
I agree.
I agree.
Yeah.
I just think it's a checks and balance and ease, and I think it's a good idea, good recommendation.
Well, and if, God forbid, something were to happen to
Mhm.
one of those two people,
Right,
yeah,
you
right.
already have it
Right.
taken care of and covered.
And when we say all accounts, you're not talking, this first motion we passed for all of your accounts.
Well, it was all accounts for Natalie as chairman.
Okay, yes, sure, okay, so that's Jim's accounts too, so that's fine, okay.
Yeah, Natalie's already on
Okay.
mine, so she's
I have all,
already on.
I didn't
Yeah, she's
find all.
Yeah, she's already on my two accounts, so now she's gonna be on all of
For you to
Jim's.
look through the water and sewer bills, Jim.
So is it handy to have another person be on all the accounts? So is this Jim's account, we need to check with Aletha, and the other one's your account, we need to check with David,
No.
you know?
Usually, the way we do it is we leave it up to whoever is actually issuing the checks. So in other words, Jim issues his checks, I issue my checks. Normally at the meeting, I have Patty sign X amount of checks for me, and Jim does the same. On a rare occasion, I need to track somebody down because I have to get a check out right away, or Jim does. But it works easiest that way. That is up to you, though, as a board. If you want to change that process, that's up to you. There are pros and cons to checks being signed ahead of time, but we're not in a position where there's an office and somebody's running in and out constantly who has that type of authority to sign checks. So I tend to have a few more checks signed than Jim does. Jim keeps them down to a minimum, and I tend to have at least a page back up so that when things come in, I don't have to go find somebody to get them signed. If we're going to go ahead and put one more board member on all accounts, I need a motion for the board member.
Is there any discussion?
No, we did it on Jim's accounts. We
We
put
put
Natalie
Natalie
on all
on
Jim's.
all, on everything. Jim's, Denise,
But
yeah,
then we put Beth on,
We haven't done it yet.
well, we haven't made the
oh,
motion yet.
that's what you want.
We haven't done that yet.
I make a motion.
I mean, I think it's a good idea to have
That we
another person on everything.
put
I mean,
Beth on what?
All
all
village
accounts.
All of it.
So that means, if it is me and I'm not running for the job, but that either Natalie or I, and one of these two would sign
checks.
the
That's
checks.
right.
Because they can't sign each other's, which
No.
is the right checks and balances.
Mhm.
So they can't find Natalie, or then they can,
Right.
you maybe find me.
Yes,
Okay,
exactly.
that's where we are.
That's where we are. So
Lori,
So-
are you good, are you, okay, all right.
where we went with this is that Natalie was placed on all of Jim's accounts now, because she was already on mine, so that was what the first motion was. This motion is Beth will be put on all accounts, okay? So I have a motion from Aletha. Did I have a second?
I will second that motion.
I didn't mean to point at you.
No? But all right.
Okay. Okay, and I need, all in favor?
Aye.
Which is your
I have a thought, and I'm waiting for you to get done so I can say it before I forget it. Can I? How many water accounts? Just so I make sure that I sign the right
There
amount of things.
Well, no, between sewer, he has 4 sewer and 3 water. No, there's the depreciation, there's the replacement, and the general sewer account, you're right, 3 sewer.
3 sewer and 4 water, because we also have the water CD.
Water CD, the what the deposit, well, see, I was splitting up the deposit account between sewer and water, I give them an extra one. The deposit account, which is sewer water, okay? The general checking account, and then there's the savings account. So there's 8-ish. Unless they're in front of me, I can't tell you. 8-ish.
Okay.
8-ish sounds good, including a CD, which is what the key to the safety deposit. The CD is kept in the safety deposit box. And that's what the key to the safety deposit box is for. Yep. Okay, there you go. Now then, Patty was on the water project. And we need to replace Patty.
And what the water project means, and correct me, is that we got a grant from the Community Development Block Grant through Green Hills Regional Planning Commission, and we're also have a commitment with the USDA Rural Development to pay back that loan, you know, at the $10 per meter or per month, I mean, unless the number of payees drops down. Again, I can repeat all that, but I think you know shorthand.
Yeah.
But
What we're,
so those are the two, I think.
well, it's the
What-
USDA grant money that we'll be dispersing,
Right?
okay? And then the,
Davies two
yeah,
places.
and then the
You're right.
CBDG grant money we're
So those are
dispersing.
the two. Sorry, I
Those
got it
are-
wrong.
That's what we'll be dispersing, and right now the CBDG account is open. And we, if you remember back in November or something, we dispersed $7,000 out of that. Here's how the system works, and I'm going over this so that you can understand what we're doing. Lance sends us the paperwork. 2 board members, this time it was Natalie and Aletha, signed that paperwork. Once you sign that paperwork, you cannot sign the check. That's the checks and balance, okay? So on the last paperwork that Lance sent us, you 2 signed off on the paperwork. When it came time to issue the check, I had to go to, I'm a signer, Beth was a signer, and Patty was a signer. So I signed and 1 board member signed. You 2 were not allowed to sign. So with Patty gone, I would suggest, again, because David has been on the board longer, that David be considered, and he's more familiar with what we're doing with the water project, that David be considered. If you want Lorianne, that's fine also, it doesn't matter.
Or Aletha.
Well, no, Aletha is
Oh,
on.
she's on the other,
All
got
of
it.
us,
That's right.
except David,
That's right.
are on,
Okay.
because when we set up the original accounts, David was not a board member.
You said
at
that,
the
I just
time.
wrote it down. I just
Yeah.
screwed up, sorry. I didn't mean to
So,
write.
originally, it was Natalie, Aletha, yourself, Patty, and myself. You weren't with us at the time. So, we have to consider, just so that we don't end up with 4. Again, it's that, if I can't find Beth to sign the check, and you 2 have signed the releases, then the payment doesn't go out, and we have a very
So many
restricted
days.
end, the window for that payment. It has to come in and go out within, what did I say? 5 days or
5 days,
something
I
like
think
that.
that is, yeah.
Yeah, it has to be turned over immediately, there's no lag time. So, it is up to you as a board, David or Lorianne, but we do need to put, I think we need to put somebody else's name. And that paperwork I'll submit to Lance, and he'll have things that need to be signed.
Well, I'll make a motion to add David as the,
I think you'll have lots of opportunities to
Yes.
sign on to stuff. And since you sort of started this, I would agree that David might be the best one for this grant thing. It's nothing personal.
Yeah.
We'll get you on a lot of things, believe me.
Okay, so Natalie moved to
I
have
seconded.
David on the water project account, and Beth second. And I need an aye or a nay. Oh, that's you, you do that. It's your job.
a roll call?
No, you don't need a roll
Okay.
call, just a vote.
Yeah.
All in favor?
All in favor, there we go, that's what I was looking for.
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. I will submit David's name to Lance, so, and we'll get that paperwork taken care of. When we move Patty, we'll get the paperwork taken care of to put David on the water project account.
And that shouldn't be,
No
there
problem.
should be no,
No. I've
nothing
already
coming in
talked to
that's, where it's gonna fall in the gap or
No,
anything like that.
you wouldn't dare bill me before we get this done. So we're talking about- Okay, see what next.
Because we're not.
Okay, All right, and I think I'm officially done with bank accounts. Did I miss any? We done one? All righty. Isn't that fun?
Yeah, but it has to be done.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay, water project.
Thanks. We're moving along. I went to the Davies 2 meeting on Monday night. They meet the second Monday of each month. And everything is a go from the DNR review, and so they're ready to submit and get it out to bid as soon as we get these easements done. And we have 8 total easements. The school has already given approval to sign off on one of those. Village Joe and Beverly Ward have agreed to sign off on a lifetime easement. This is not a transfer of property. That's very important to them, and the lawyer wrote it up that way, so we were hoping that would go through. For where the vault is, the triangle, you know where our vault, the triangle lot, and then to come down the west side of Kodiak Road. So those are the 2 of the 6 that are done. So who we don't have is Mark Pettit and Stacy. Well, Mark owns the property, I think, which is on the other end of where it joins 5th Street. And it's just going to come straight down and hit the line of 5th Street. We're trying to really minimize the amount of cutting into people's yards. It's just not avoidable in some cases. So those are the 3. So we have 5 left. And they're in the alley. Fisher's house and Hiskett's house, which is the blue house next to you, by the purple house. Their water meters are in the alley. And there's a sewer line that runs down the middle of that alley. And you have to have a 10-foot gap between a sewer line, which is in the middle of a 16-foot wide alley, and the water line. So Wally came and looked at it, and we talked about it, and he's talking to the engineer, and the hope is that instead of, making a big trench to just maybe even bore, but anyway, we might have to trench some to hook up those 2 water meters. But I haven't had that conversation personally with you other than just mentioning last night. But I do now have all the paperwork. I didn't get it all at the same time, and there's another piece that be notarized, and I didn't think it made sense to go say, well, look this over, and if you agree, notarize it, and then come back in a week and say, well, now I need you to notarize this. So that's one of the reasons, and I could probably have got on sooner, but anyway. So that gets us to 3, and then Hiskett's would be 4. And then we have to go on down the alley, which is behind the purple house, Toby Grimm's house. John and Donna Chadwick seem fine with it I haven't talked to Toby, if we don't cut the tree, kill the tree. And then David Elmore is the trailer house on the other side of Chadwick's. Thanks. Help me get it out. Thank you. So I believe that. Did I get anybody else?
He'll be here this weekend.
Okay, good. David, look good. So that's the 8. And I think the only little, it's a process. If the person owes money on the house, if they have a note, then the bank has to sign off on it too. And so if the people who are banking are, out of town, and so I'm not saying we're going to have it done by the end of this week, but it's moving faster than it has been. So did that answer the question you had earlier?
Thank you.
Okay. Did everybody okay?
To my satisfaction, thank you.
Okay, all right, good.
Thank you for
Thank you.
doing that
Yeah,
again.
I just wish we were faster. But it's exciting that once we're done, then it can move forward. That once these.
So once these
done.
easements are done, it can go out to bid.
That's right.
For contractors.
How many days is the bid out?
I think it's out for 30 days to bid, and then they bring them back and review them and make a selection, and then once they have a selection and a contract worked out, they have so many work days, which means if it's raining and they can't dig or whatever, so many work days to finish the project, and I don't know that number either.
Right.
So that's all knowable. I
No.
probably got it written down someplace, but I didn't bring it tonight.
Okay.
I haven't heard it lately.
So how does the easement work?
The way the easements work is, what they're asking for is, I just gave the school theirs, I think it's a 10-foot easement, lifetime easement, so if they need to get back in and repair it. But then they're also asking for like a 20-foot, if they have to park some equipment over on your